Okay, could you finish or do you need one more minute?
I finished with the 6 pictures, but the others doesn't make me feel like I have an image for that because they don't look like that. So I don't know how to match them.
Okay, but well, maybe if we check them together. Did you, okay, let's check them together. Okay, you tell me because I don't get to see, if I want to see all the images at the same time, okay, it will be this way. So help me to read the problems because I don't get to read them, okay? The first one, I remember that it was a stomach ache and we matched them with the letter A, right? The second one is, I have a, what is the second one, please? What is the problem?
Is
Number two.
a head could be the number 1, B.
Okay. Letter B, it's a headache. Very good. Number 3. See?
Number 3 is C.
But can you read the problem, please? Because I don't get to see it.
My leg hurts.
My leg hurts. Okay, very good. Which of the images?
C.
Letter C. Very good. Letter C. Number 4, what is it?
This is the one I don't know what is. I have a cold, but I don't see something that matches with the cold, you know.
Okay, which one do you think fits better? Like, could best?
Maestra,
Letter D. Yes, Astrid?
yo creo que me equivoqué yo en las letras porque no las alcanzo a apreciar bien.
Sí, por eso yo les se las dije. Esta es la A, B, C, D, y E. Entonces, letter D es la de I have a cold, porque quedamos que el cold era una gripa. Y probablemente la letra D es la que mejor se acerque a una gripa, ¿no?
Ok. Sería en línea A, B, C, D.
Ajá.
¿Así? Ok.
So, letter D is the one of the cold. I have a cold. Okay, number 5. What does it say?
I have a temperature.
I have a temperature. Okay, which of the images match this one?
Is E.
Letter E. Very good. I have a temperature, letter E. I have a cough. Which one? Obviously, we don't get to see if someone is coughing, right? But which one could match this one, that the one of the I have a cough?
Most of the time, the cold is going with the cough. You know,
See,
maybe.
yeah, and most of the time they are related.
Yeah.
So
D.
letter D, right? Okay. Number 7, what does it say, please?
I have a sore throat.
I have a sore throat. Okay, so what do you think?
In my opinion, it could be the same D.
The same D. And actually, it could also be letter E. I mean, we don't know. The one of the headache could also fit letter E because the girl is like touching her
Her head.
so
I mean,
yeah,
the
so
forehead.
so it could be, right?
Yeah.
And number 8. What does it say, number 8?
I have a runny nose.
I have a runny nose. And again, it could be.
Profe.
Yes.
La 7 en que, no, la 6 en que quedó, la de tos. Esa sí no la ubique.
En la misma del cold. Y no porque se vea, right? It's because they are related. Porque están relacionadas. When you have a cold, you can also have a cough. So it's with the letter D. Either the runny nose, pues yo creo que también va con la D. And probably with the letter E. Probably. Okay. So let's see, what does it say? Just to confirm, right? So the one of the cough and the sore throat, they don't have images, but as we were saying, when you have a cold, you will probably have a cough or have a sore throat. So it's okay if you didn't write anything, but I think that they are related. Okay, let's continue then. Now it says here, Complete the sentences using the words in the box. You can use each word only once. Okay, we are going to do this together. You don't have to write it down if you don't want. It's just for participation. Okay, let's participate. Okay, so I can say that I have va, or I can have van, what? Ache and ache. From these words, I have an arm, back, tire, ear, finger, and better. So I can say that I have va ache or an ache. What? I hear you. Jorge, do you know?
I'm trying to, because it could be a backache.
Backache. Uh-huh. Okay, I have a backache. Or here it says that it starts with a vowel. It starts with a vowel because it says an. So
yeah. Okay. That's confused.
confessing. Okay. Think about when you are complaining about because something hurts of a pain. What do you say? I have a backache. Somebody else?
Could be.
Arm. Could be arm. But I think that it's better ear. Ear ache.
Okay.
I have an ear ache. Next, my hurts. My what hurts?
My back is easy.
Okay, my back hurts. Yes, but now I think that arm fits better here. My arm hurts. What else? Because it says that I can only use them once.
I'm just
So,
gonna use one. Okay.
my arm hurts.
Finger.
My finger hurts. Very good. And for this one, yes, we cannot like, it's easier because we're talking about feeling. How do you feel? I feel tired or I feel
better.
better. Okay. Questions? This is just like doing these vocabularies, but sometimes you can use, for example, my head hurts or I have a headache and it will be the same. So sometimes it depends. But for example, here, when we're talking about the ache, it is just one word combined, but one word. And in this one, it's two words. You first place the noun, the arm, the finger, the leg, or whatever, and then the verb hurts. And with this, when you're talking about the way you feel, we have to use adjectives. For example, I feel tired, I feel better, I feel bad, I feel good, I feel sick, etc. Okay, so as I said, you didn't have to write anything from that. Now we're gonna go and practice. And for this, yes, you will have to take some notes. Okay, now it says listening, discuss. Okay, before we listen and we do the exercise, we are going to discuss. What do you do when you have a cold? So let's answer question by question. What do you do when you have a cold? Do you go to school? Do you go to work or school? Do you stay at home and rest? Or do you go to the doctor and take medicine? I hear you. When you feel sick, guys, when you have a cold, be in a specific, because here it says when you have a cold. What happens with you when you have a cold?
Usually I lay down because when I get a call, I just it's happens once a year, but it kills me. You know, this is
Yeah, so you
stay
stay
there
at
for 3
home.
days, more there, and I need to rest. That's all I have to do. I don't like to take medicines or something like that. Just only something natural, you know, like vitamin C.
Actually, the colds, if I'm not wrong, most of the times are because of viruses. So a virus, you don't need to take anything for a virus. Probably a painkiller and that's it. So, but it doesn't mean that it's because you have to rest. If you want to feel better, you have to rest because the virus will stay with you until, I don't know, it could last maybe a week.
3 or 4 days, something like that.
Actually, it's not of your business, but I was sick last week. I was feeling horrible, and probably
Yes, you
that is.
did. You did. We saw you.
Okay, okay.
You almost crying there.
Yeah, I was so bad, but that is the good part of being at home. But it was just a cold. I mean, yeah, thankfully it was just a cold. Okay, I want to hear somebody else. I hear you guys. What do you do when you have a cold? You go to work if you have to, and then you go to the doctor and take some medicine. Okay, even in this pandemic, because you know that if you're sick, even though if it's just a cold, it is part of the symptoms that you have to take. You have to be careful, right? Not to be exposed
Yeah.
or connected with
Colleagues
different
and
people. Yeah.
friends.
So tell me, somebody here has experienced something like this, like that you have a cold, but you have to work, or you had, well, go to school is not one of the things that you have to work. You have to work, but you but you have a cold. So what do you do? What do they tell you to do? Do you have to work like that, or do you have to work like home office, or just rest? Nobody here has experienced something like that lately? No? Okay.
Miss, do you know, I don't know if you noticed that because the mask that we're wearing now, this year, or maybe, I mean, the last winter, when most of the people get cold or nose, running nose or something like that, I didn't hear anybody say that they have a cold or something. I think because the mask that we're wearing all the time, you know, and they don't get the time, or they don't get the barriers to get inside of your body or something like that. And that happened to me because I'm really punctual about getting the cold is in December once a time, and then when the temperature changes, I mean, like in the springtime, and this is the 2 times when I get the cold, and I didn't get anything now. I think this is because
But are you sure that it is a cold or allergies? Because I'm allergic to the.
No, I'm not allergic or anything.
Okay.
I'm just I know there's the cold because of the weather changed, and then I'm just like a clock, you know, like a very punctual about that. I know when it's gonna change.
That happened to me. Well, it happens to me that every single time that weather changes, I'm allergic to that. So it's like one of my eyes is small and the other one, and then runny nose, and it's a very tiring and annoying. But I know that it's that it's because of the weather is changing, and I probably have those symptoms like for 1 month or even 2 months, and I have to take some medicine for that, otherwise I will be on bed all the time. So when I have a cold, it's very difficult because it's different. Even though I also have a runny nose and that, I feel bad. And that happened to me last week. I was feeling awful. And as you were saying, that probably with the mask you cover part of it, because it is very noticeable when someone is sick or when someone is feeling bad, because of the eyes, because of the way they speak, or things like that, right? So Mariano says that you take a lot of syrup or syrup. How is it pronounced? I think it's syrup. Syrup. Okay. I did that because of the sore throat. It helped me a lot last week. So yeah, it's very useful. So you have, as you were saying, take some natural things, right? For these type of things. It's better probably than having antibiotics. Okay. Now let's go to the second question, and it says in here, what's the difference between a cold and a flu? Okay, do you know the difference between a cold and a flu, guys?
I think it's the running nose. I think. I don't know.
Okay, what's a flu?
Flu? It's like a running nose, you know, when you have all your the like kind of like a water thing, you know, from your nose. It's just like you can stop. to
Okay.
running anything, on your box. There's, I mean, a liquid box, they're running all the time. You
Okay.
can start, you have up tons of clinics close to you that never ended.
Mhm.
And the cold is like you feel like a temperature. I mean, it's like even if you're not cold, you feel cold and something like that, but you don't have that flu, And
Okay.
with the flu, you just can't even breathe or sleep or something because you're all the time throwing all this liquid from your nose.
Okay. So I used to believe that a flu was like a resfriado and a cold was una gripa, but I was reading and then it was like the cold is una gripa and we also have a runny nose with a cold. But a flu is como una influenza, so it's like a virus, and a cold is more like an infection or something like that could be. I'm not like a bacteria. I think that those are different, right? Okay, so we're gonna see here, and it says in here, look at the health problems and write them in the correct place. Okay, first we're gonna make a guess. We're gonna try it by our own. I know we're not doctors and we probably don't know, but I'm pretty sure that we all have been sick at least once. So according to the way we feel or we live these illnesses, a flu and a cold, let's compare them and see about the symptoms that you suffer or the way you feel when you are sick about this. Okay, so check the list of the problems that you have, please. And obviously the ones that fit these both, or at least one of these illnesses, right? Flu or a cold. For example, a headache. You can have a headache with the flu. Can you have it with a cold? Well, it says in here that no or both. What was the second one? A stomachache, I guess. So a stomachache, I think in none of them, right? So we're just gonna skip the stomachache. What was the third one? Can you remind me, please?
Temperature.
Temperature. Okay, that temperature. When do you have a temperature? Flu, cold, or both?
I think there's a cold with a cold.
Okay. Well, is it clear what you have to do? Temperature. I want you to check the list I told you to write, and I want you to fill in the blanks if you have those problems with the flu, with a cold, or in both. Okay? According to you.
Maestra, entonces, a cold es como una,
Gripa.
como más fuerte que la gripe, ¿no?
Yo diría que el flu es más fuerte, porque ¿qué es más fuerte? ¿Una influenza
¿Tú?
o una gripa? According,
Según yo, la gripa es más fuerte que el resfriado.
pero no, es que no es un resfriado. Yo les dije que yo solía pensar que era, pero el flu es la influenza.
Ah, ok. Entonces la influenza es más fuerte que el resfriado.
Because it says in here, influenza or flu is a respiratory illness that results from a viral infection. Flu is highly contagious and spreads through respiratory droplets. So yeah, a flu is respiratory, and that it's an infection. And the cold is como una gripa. So what do you have in a flu or a cold or in both? Up to you, okay? According to you. ¿Sí están haciéndolo? Sí quedó claro lo que van a hacer.
Yes, but
Okay.
it's according with us.
Huh?
But it's according with us.
Yes, according to you. Yeah, actually, we're gonna listen to a doctor, but first you have to give it a try by your own. And then we're gonna check. Okay, I'll give you, what could be, 2 minutes for you to fill them, and then we're gonna check and compare. Ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Not pretty sure it's fine, but
Don't worry. Don't worry. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna listen to confirm and change in case that we have to. Okay, now it says listen to a radio show and check your answers. Okay, I'm gonna play it once for you to listen and compare your answers with what the doctor says, okay? And I'll play it again to in case that we don't get to, but well, we're first gonna listen to it once and then we're gonna continue.
Unit 11. Recording S11.2.
And this week in Health Matters, we're talking about colds and flu. What's the difference? And more importantly, what should you do when you have a cold or flu? With me in the studio is Dr. Elizabeth Harper.
Hello.
Dr. Harper, first, can you tell us, how is the flu different from a cold?
Well, one big difference is how they start. Flu starts very suddenly. 1 minute you're fine, you're okay. The next minute you feel terrible. You have a headache, often a very bad headache, and sometimes a cough. You have a sore throat and your arms and legs hurt. You feel awful.
Okay, and do you usually have a temperature?
Yes, you get very hot. Usually you have a temperature of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. And you're too sick to do anything. You can't work. You just...
Sorry, se estaba trabando mucho. Voy a ponerles el script
Unit
para que
11.
para que se guíen, ¿ok?
Recording S11.2.
And this week in Health Matters, we're talking about colds and flu. What's the difference? And more importantly, what should you do when you have a cold or flu? With me in the studio is Dr. Elizabeth Harper.
Hello.
Dr. Harper, first, can you tell us, how is the flu different from a cold?
Well, one big difference is how they start. Flu starts very suddenly. 1 minute you're fine, you're okay. The next minute you feel terrible. You have a headache, often a very bad headache, and sometimes a cough. You have a sore throat and your arms and legs hurt. You feel awful.
Okay, and do you usually have a temperature?
Yes, you get very, very hot. Usually you have a temperature of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're too sick to do anything. You can't work. You just want to go home and go to bed.
So it's serious.
Yes, don't try to work. You should go to bed, get lots of sleep. Sometimes you have to stay in bed for a week or more. You shouldn't go back to work too soon.
Anything else?
Yes, you should drink lots of water.
Right. And what about a cold? How is a cold different from the flu?
Well, a cold starts slowly. It may take 2 or 3 days to start. It's a cold when you have a bad throat or a cough and a runny nose and you don't feel very well. But, and here's the big difference, if you can get up and go to work, then you've probably got a cold, not the flu.
So should you go to work with a cold?
That depends. You don't want to give your cold to other people at work, so some people take 2 or 3 days off work or work from home. But yes, you can usually work, and after a week, you usually feel better.
And after the flu?
After the flu, you often feel very tired for a very long time. Maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Should you rest a lot?
Well, it depends, but be careful. For example, don't do too many activities or exercise intensely until you feel better.
Another question about colds and flu. What do you think about antibiotics?
Well, you shouldn't take antibiotics with a cold and
Okay. So, what do you think now? Let's talk about the problems we were reading and see how we can match them. A flu, we have a headache. With a cold, we don't. What was the other one? It was stomachache. I think it is it. The temperature. When do we have a temperature? Flu or cold or both?
Flu is very high temperature.
Uh-huh. Then it was the leg hurts, I guess. What was the next one?
Leg hurts or the other symptom of the
Leg
sore
hurts.
throat.
Leg hurts.
Mhm.
Sore throat. Where do we have them? Flu, cold, or both?
I think and both.
Both. Both. What was the next one? Cough.
Yeah, whistle, cough, and sore throat.
Both or
Sore throat, it's in both. Okay.
Both.
1, 2, 3, 4. Temperature, cough, headache, leg hurts. We're missing one because she says 5 of them.
Okay, sore throat, cold, temperature, leg hurts, and headache.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's it.
Runny nose, was it mentioned?
No, I didn't hear this. I didn't hear this. She say something about that.
Okay.
Well,
Cool.
it's not. But what is the? When did you get the running nose? It's not a.
I
It's not a
think that
cold.
it's
It's not a
both.
flu.
I don't- Probably we skipped it or I don't know. Let's see. Now it says in here, what did it, because we're gonna listen to it again, but now we have to identify this information. So it says, what did the doctor say? Underline the correct alternative and then listen again and check. We're gonna first listen and check in at the same time, okay? It says flu starts suddenly or slowly, you can or you can't work. A cold starts suddenly or slowly, you can or you can't work. And after a cold, you feel better after 2 or 3 days or a week. And after the flu, you often feel fine or tired after 3 weeks. Okay, I'll play it and I'll ask you to please choose the options, the correct option, okay? Just like to write down the answers you can see there in number 1, 2, 3, and 4, okay? So I'll play one more time with the script, so in case that it is passing, you can read it and follow what they're saying.
Unit 11. Recording S11.2.
And this week in Health Matters, we're talking about colds and flu. What's the difference? And more importantly, what should you do when you have a cold or flu? With me in the studio is Dr. Elizabeth Harper.
Hello.
Dr. Harper, first, can you tell us how is the flu different from a cold?
Well, one big difference is how they start. Flu starts very suddenly.
Oh my God, I'm
One
sorry.
minute you're fine, you're okay. The next minute, Unit 11. Recording S11.
Talking about colds and flu. What's the difference? And more importantly, what should you do when you have a cold or flu? With me in the studio is Dr. Elizabeth Harper.
Hello.
Dr. Harper, first, can you tell us how is the flu different from a cold?
Well, one big difference is how they start. Flu starts very suddenly. One minute you're fine, you're okay. The next minute you feel terrible. You have a headache, often a very bad headache. and sometimes a cough. You have a sore throat and your arms and legs hurt. You feel awful.
Okay. And do you usually have a temperature?
Yes, you get very hot. Usually you have a temperature of over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're too sick to do anything. You can't work. You just want to go home and go to bed.
So it's serious.
Yes, don't try to work. You should go to bed, get lots of sleep. Sometimes you have to stay in bed for a week or more. You shouldn't go back to work too soon.
Anything else?
Yes, you should drink lots of water.
Right. And what about a cold? How is a cold different from the flu?
Well, a cold starts slowly. It may take 2 or 3 days to start. It's a cold when you have a bad throat or a cough and a runny nose and you don't feel very well. But, and here's the big difference, if you can get up and go to work, then you've probably got a cold, not the flu.
So should you go to work with a cold?
That depends. You don't want to give your cold to other people at work, so some people take 2 or 3 days off work or work from home. But yes, you can usually work, and after a week, you usually feel better.
And after the flu?
After the flu, you often feel very tired for a very long time, maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
Should you rest a lot?
Well, it depends, but be careful. For example, don't do too many activities or exercise intensely until you feel better.
Another question about colds and flu. What do you think about antibiotics?
Well, you shouldn't take antibiotics with a cold and
Okay, so then the runny nose, it was mentioned. Where was it mentioned? Flu or cold?
Cold, I saw that.
Cold, right? Very good. Okay, now let's go and answer this. The flu starts suddenly or slowly?
Suddenly,
Suddenly, very good. You can or you can't work. Beta says you can't work. Very good. Okay, number 2. A cold starts suddenly or slowly?
slowly,
Slowly. Okay, you can or you can't work?
depends, but you can.
You can, right? Okay. Now, after a cold, you feel better after 2 or 3 days or after a week? 3 days, says Beta. Very good. 2 or 3 days. And after the flu, you often feel fine or tired after 3 weeks. Tired. Very good. Okay, any question, guys, about this exercise? No? Okay. I'm going to erase these answers and we're gonna stop here. We're gonna stop here for today because we finished with the vocabulary part, and tomorrow we're gonna continue with the same topic, but we're gonna start with grammar. But before you leave, let me take attendance, okay? So let's see. Wait, give me a minute, please, because I have to. Okay, here we go. Alguien Uriarte. Bojorquez Valenzuela. Buelda Encinas. Carrillo Alcántara.
Present.
Teja Flores.
Present.
De la Torre Espinosa. If somebody writes in the chat, please tell me, okay? Del Castillo Sosa. Echeshuri Jaime. Fierro Zubia.
Presente.
Figueroa Ruiz.
Presente.
Guzmán Carranza.
Presente.
Huerta Robles.
Presente.
Jaques Valenzuela.
Presente.
López Lagarda.
Presente.
Loya Moreno.
Presente.
Molina Ruiz. Moreno Gutiérrez.
Presente.
Núñez López.
Presente.
Torres Barreras. Torres Gutiérrez. Verdugo Estrada.
Presente.
Villas Landeros. Ok. Ay, les dije que si alguien escribía me dijeran, no me dijeron
Ya
nada.
le dije a esto que Torres puso, pero no me escuchó.
No te escuché.
Ajá, y
Ok.
Santiago también puso
¿Cómo se
ahí.
te pasan? A ver, Uriarte, ¿quién más escribió? ¿Me ayudan, por favor?
De la Torre,
Ujú.
Torres, Barrera y Santiago Villas puso.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, well, guys, see you tomorrow. Thank you for being here. In case that you have something, please today, okay? Please contact me today in case that you want to ask me something or whatever today, okay? Thank
Okay,
you
see you.
and see you tomorrow. Bye.